The whole new acronym thing drives me effing bananas. Can we call him by his name?
Felger and Mazz on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Let's go.
Zonka wins it. Hampus Lindholm trying to get it back to Pasternak at the blue line. An ill-advised pass there, and the Bruins have to hustle back into their own zone. Chance right in front, and Benson scores. Doan was able to track that puck down and get it in front. Benson all by himself between the circles, and Buffalo is back in front by 2.
It's okay to have a face-off play, but you've got to ad-lib sometimes if it's not there. And Hampus Lindholm tries to force a pass to David Pastrnak. He's covered. And then Pastrnak and McAvoy go ahead. Who was that? The puck carrier going into the corner, and
Doan.
It was Doan. And wide open in front is Benson. You win a face-off in the offensive zone, and you have a goal scored against you.
What a disastrous weekend in Boston sports.
Seriously.
Bruins dropped Game 7 to the Sabres over the weekend. That was the nail in the coffin play, Mazz. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yep.
Your thoughts on the Bruins' loss or that play in particular?
Okay, so I thought that play was actually a good microcosm of the entire series. The Bruins' best players in this series get their asses kicked. Pastrnak was a -7 in the series. McAvoy was a -6. Those are your two candidates for captain. And by the way, just for good measure, not that he factored in on that play, I'll throw in Zacha, who was also a -7 for the series. He might have been your third best player during the year, and don't give me Geeky, who was a minus player overall for the season, despite his 39 goals or however many he ended up with. Zacha, to me, had a better year than Geeky did all the way around. Those three guys were your best players. They were combined -19 in the series against Buffalo. -19, Pastrnak and McAvoy together were a -13 and got embarrassed on that play. You want to, as Bob Beer said, you want to blame the pass on Lindholm? Fine. No problem, whatever. I still think Pastrnak could have done a better job fighting the puck to keep it in front of him.
Well, Mazz, I mean, you tell me, when you're watching in real time and the puck's going down into the corner and it's Pastrnak and McAvoy going back into that corner with Doan, what did you say to yourself?
I said, to me, you gotta get the puck.
I said, uh-oh.
Well, so what?
There's no way Pasternak's coming up with this one. No way.
Okay, but with McAvoy there, I gave him a chance. Like they had 2-on-1 there. The guy split them, went right between the two of them into the corner and passed the puck out front to a guy who's wide open. Like, it's hard to get on Swayman for that game, given the goals that were scored up, so I'm not going to get on the goalie. Overall, they were lucky to be in it. The other guy, I will say the goalie change for Buffalo had a big impact on the series because Lyon was much, much better than the first guy, whose name now escapes me, Ukko-Pekka.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Okay, so that play, bottom line is their best guys were good. I think Thompson was a +7 in the series, and for the most part, their best players were good. Yours got smoked.
Yeah, so much for David Pasternak's plea going into that game. Please be patient. You had that horrific sequence early. Alex Tuch's all alone. And that's 1-0. And I don't know about you, but you could feel it through that building, like you said before, Mike. Like you just watch it, and I was like, "Oh, that place just tightened up, and everyone's pissed." And you knew where it was going from there. But they let Buffalo have the puck way too long. They sucked in front of their net defensively the whole series. They just kept watching the puck. They couldn't win a puck battle to save their lives. It was like watching every other game that they lost in the series. It was the same thing over and over and over again.
So this is a little bit of a different story than the Celtics in that the Bruins didn't lose to an inferior opponent. Obviously. The Sabres were better, and that came out. So it's not like – I'm not saying that the Bruins, gagged that series.
No, you're right. Buffalo's better, but 3 straight losses at home?
Oh, well, so listen, there's still gaggers. I mean, they didn't gag – the loss wasn't a gag. The way they played was a gag.
Yeah.
Another gag. just the latest in a long line of gags. So I started with that play, Mazz, because it does encapsulate. It's your best players. And I mean, just when I saw that puck going down there and Pastrnak and McAvoy, I know McAvoy I should have more faith in. I don't. I think he's just grossly overrated. I said, You know, like it's like a joke. McAvoy and Pastrnak walk into a bar. I'm like, I knew something bad was happening. There was no way Pastrnak was going to come up with that play. And he was the first one in on it. And go watch the Sabres' first goal when they went up 1-0. Watch the shift. I think it was Pastrnak, Zacha, and Hustadinov, I think was that line. They were out there for that goal. Watch. They're just out for a skate.
Yep.
Flybys, just waving at the puck with one hand, not checking their guys. It's just so the Bruins didn't like the Bruins shouldn't have won this. They're not the better team. But the takeaway for me is still David Pastrnak plays the game the wrong way. We talk about the Celtics playing the game the wrong way. David Pastrnak plays the game the wrong way. He plays on the wrong side of the puck. I don't expect him to win every board battle, but he doesn't win enough. He's a turnover machine, and you saw it in that game. The two goals allowed, the backbreaker and the one that gave him a 1-0 lead. He's just out for a skate, and he doesn't make winning plays. And I've been saying it for years. I'm going to keep saying it. If he's your best player, you're in trouble. If Charlie McAvoy's your number one defenseman, you're in trouble. He's not good enough. He's not good enough to be a franchise defenseman. The results are in. We know it by now. They're paying him to be a true number one franchise pillar defenseman. He's not that guy. He's not. He's a 2 or a 3. And we know it now. The sample's in. He's a fully grown man. Nothing left to see. This is what he is. He's a number 2 or 3 defenseman. He's not a number 1 defenseman. And if David Pastrnak is your best player, you're not going to win anything. Yeah. Sorry. You're just not. He just doesn't play the right way, Mazz.
No, look, you're not going to get any argument from me. The guy that alarms me more is McAvoy. Because, again, if he's your best defenseman and he is a minus player in the postseason, which is what he is, he's a minus player in the postseason. When that happens, you got no shot. If he's not controlling the game back there when he's on the ice, forget it. You're done. It's over.
And I'll just give you a final word on the goaltending because this is, another cause of mine that goaltending is overrated. It's another case where goaltending is overrated. Buffalo does not really have a goalie. They don't have a pure starter. They've got a couple of platoon guys. Lyon is sort of a journeyman guy at this point. I don't know how many teams he's been on, but he's been on a couple. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is just another platoon Finn who's good for 35 games a year, and that's about it. And certainly nowhere near the playoffs. They don't really have a thought in net. They just have a couple of guys. And they just beat you handily. And they're going up against a Montreal team that has a couple of guys. Nothing special. They actually are really scared of their goaltending up there, but they don't have much, and they're in the second round. Do you know, Mazz, that this is the second straight year that there'll be no Vezina finalist past the first round of the NHL playoffs?
Is that right?
The 3 guys this year were Sorokin, Swayman, Vasilevsky. Sorokin didn't even make the playoffs. Swayman and Vasilevsky, one and done. And I'm trying to look up last year, but I know that last year's finalists didn't make it out of the first round either. It's just overrated, folks. It's just when someone tells you it's all about goaltending, it's just kind of a cliche at this point. It's not true. The better teams win, not the better goalies. There might have been a time when you could win 7-game series on goaltending alone. I mean, if you want to say Tim Thomas did that for you in 2011, perhaps. Certainly he was your most important player, and goaltending was a huge part of that. I'm not going to deny it. So maybe there was a time that happened. It doesn't really happen anymore. It just doesn't. And you're stupid to overspend in net. You're stupid to devote too many resources in net. You're much better devoting those financial dollars and those cap dollars to your skating group and a defense core than it is a goalie. And you had a huge. This is just another example where you had another huge advantage in net, huge. And it wasn't even really close. You lost in 6 games, and it wasn't really all that close. So it's just another example of what I'm trying to talk about here with goaltending. Why Jeremy Swayman's a waste. He's just a waste of your money and cap dollars. Never mind a backup who makes $4 million on top of him. So there's a Bruins Minute for you on a Reentry Monday. Back to your calls on everything, I promise. Mix it all together right to you after these words.
Now, more of Felger and Mazz. Now, on the Sports Hub.
It sucks, right? Getting kicked out of the playoffs, it hurts. Absolutely, it hurts. But I also reminded them that what kind of season they played. No one really thought we would be in the mix in the playoffs. Forget about playoffs, right? Look at us, 100-point season, and battled really hard till the end. I just wanted them to know how proud I am, but also now we got a little taste, so that means we got to go. Sween said it a few months ago. We still have work to do, and that's what we're going to start tomorrow.
Thing you have to worry about with the Bruins is that as an organization, they're satisfied where they are. That they're not a true championship-driven franchise. They never really have been. They're a playoff-driven franchise. And they got back in the playoffs, and just that the vibe in the building is they're satisfied. That would be my concern with the Boston Bruins. And their best players are not good enough. That would be, if David Pasternak's your best player, you're not winning squat. Sorry. If Charlie McAvoy's your number one defenseman, you've got a bad defense core. And the goaltending overrated again. Back to your phones. Matt in New Bedford. Go ahead, Matt.
Was anybody else super ticked off about Charlie McAvoy's play this entire freaking postseason and the last, 5 postseasons? How many freaking times, it was twice in this game, that he left a guy wide open in front of the net to go try and help out and get a guy in the corner? That you learn that crap in Mike, that you need to cover the front of the net as a defenseman. And you make a decision if the guy starts coming out to the net. But until then, you stick your ass right in front there, and you cover the front. What the hell is he thinking?
Didn't he do that on both the first and the third goal? The first and third goal, the guys were wide open on top of the crease. And I think Matt's right. I think he was chasing the puck. He's just not that good, guys. He's just, I don't think it's a lack of effort. I don't think he's dogging it out there. And I think he's tough. He's been drinking through a straw for 6 months or whatever. His face is all mangled. I don't think it's that. He's not that good. Face it. He's just not that good.
He makes a lot of bad decisions, Mike.
He does. It's true, Mazz.
He does. He makes a lot of bad decisions, and you'd like to think that he doesn't strike me as someone that's a stupid player, but given the number of mistakes he makes, he plays stupid more than he should. Does that make sense?
Definitely. So yes, I mean you can get on there are things that are within his control, and so yes, it's not like he's blameless, but I think at the base of it, we are looking for him to be something that he's not, and he's not a true number one franchise defenseman. Jeff in Watertown, go ahead, Jeff.
Guys, just a bigger picture take on the status of the NBA. It's so frustrating as a fan who grew up watching, the Paul Pierce, KG Celtics with these guys now. There's no accountability, no competitive fire. After the game, they're all friends with Joel Embiid. Let's go out to dinner. Everything's great. We had a good year. I just want to see some hatred or some competitiveness. It's just really frustrating as a fan.
Yeah, so Mazz, maybe that's a problem with the Celtics team. Maybe that's why every time they get in the playoffs and someone tougher pushes back, they wilt. It's happened over and over and over again.
I mean, the end of that game, it was impossible not to notice the hugging and the loving and the laughing and the whispering in the ears and covering up of lips so that nobody could lip read, especially when Brown and Embiid were talking trash to each other on the floor. Now, look, I'm all for saying when it's over, you shake hands, you move on. Okay, we all believe in that. But I do wonder with the Celtics, whether they didn't sound like a team
that was devastating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That it didn't hurt. And I do wonder with them whether they've now won their one title and they feel like, okay, we got the ring we needed to get everybody off our backs, and they're content with that. I do wonder that about them. And because any time they have to fight for it, they lose. And I've said this to you a million times, Mike, I believe in patterns. Okay? So when you look at the patterns with the Celtics, the championship's the outlier. The championship is the 1 year where they got an easy path and everything fell right for them. All the other years, someone's gotten in their face and they folded.
Every time.
It's happened 3 or 4 times now. Every single time someone gets in their face, they fold. It happened with Golden State. It happened with Miami. It happened with the Knicks. And now it's happened with Philly. So how many times is someone going to get in your kitchen and you fold up and you go home, and we're going to sit there and say, well, they got their ring and it's okay. They should have more than one title by now. They should.
Here's our buddy Corey Passatora, accordion champion. He was at the game, I believe, behind the Celtics bench. What do you have to tell us, Corey?
I was right behind the bench, as I told you. So I went early, since you can go much earlier than everybody else, and watched practice right there in front of them. All they did was practice 3-3, 3-3, 3-3, 3-3. That's all they did. Then I will say some good news. The Philly fans, boy, they do have their reputation. Within the first 10 minutes of the game, 2 Philly fans right behind me, different ones, different areas, were thrown out of the game for being loud and obnoxious, ridiculous. But Tatum sat 4 feet in front of me the whole game. No emotion the whole time. Not pissed he wasn't playing. Mazzulla, his usual calm self, nothing. And the only reason I went to this game was because even though I've not been a fan of this Tatum-Brown duo, I was against Tatum from day one when he's wearing Duke hats and St. Louis Blues hats. Like, dude, you're coming to Boston. Put some Boston hats on. No, you're wearing the other ones. I always questioned it. Game 7 against LeBron 8 years ago. Don't forget that choke either. But the 32-0 on a 3-1 series, right? And the Philadelphia 0-18 when down 3-1. I said, even they can't blow this one. And they did, but then they come back. The roof was ready to blow off the top. And they had all those chances and couldn't hit it. I don't care. Pick one of the 2 players. I want them gone. The whole thing has to change.
I don't change those guys, though. I don't change those guys. I don't. I have an organizational come to Jesus meeting where if I'm deciding to take a hard look at how we're playing. The roster isn't the problem. They've had a championship caliber roster now going back for 5 years. Legitimately. Championship caliber basketball team for 5 years. And they've only won once, and it took a series of injuries and events to fall their way to do it. So there's something wrong with how they're playing, or another intangible thing that I think is beyond the talent. I would not move on from those guys, Mazz. I really wouldn't.
Even after, and I know we'll get to this later too, Jaylen Brown on his stupid stream last night is basically saying, I don't like being second fiddle to Jason Tatum, win or lose. I just want to be the man, saying it was my favorite year of basketball in my career.
He's still going on last night about this being his favorite year. Well, these comments, Jimmy, I'm sorry, I didn't look at the email. Did you pull these? I think this speaks to, a thing that has been on this team for a while that they've all dealt with, and I thought dealt with successfully, but maybe not. Maybe because I've given Brown and Tatum credit for playing together and existing together and excelling together, because I think they deserve that. I think it's a fair question to ask, and I think that they've largely answered that through their career. But have they? Maybe it isn't as good of a working relationship as we realize, and that's maybe one of the undercurrents that just prevent them from being as good as they could be, maybe. Because Brown, for him to say this stuff last night, I thought was ridiculous, Jimmy. So tonight, this is Brown, not on the refs, but, again, on how he valued this team. Go ahead.
Tonight, I wish we played that style and trusted that style more, even throughout the playoffs, even through wins and through losses. Obviously, it's not always the easiest decision, but I wish that style for our team was how we empowered the rest of our group. And you saw tonight how everybody came out and they played their tail off. I wish we trusted that more.
So he liked the lineup, Mazz, and he liked the way they played. Yeah, what does he got to? What's wrong with him?
You got me again. Probably because
what's the old Pat Riley line? Disease of me.
Right.
That's what I think it is.
They played with better pace, and it wasn't Tatum just grinding the basketball into the ground.
But they lost. They lost to an inferior opponent at home. How does he carry on like that? Like talking like that was some sort of success last night.
Because he's got an accountability problem, especially when he's the guy.
He just liked it that it was about him.
Right. Yep.
He liked it because he was the lead guy. He had the highest, he had 33 points and a ton of shots, and it was about him. That's why he liked it. It didn't work. Did last night work?
No.
So what's he carrying on about?
Can't go left, turnover waiting to happen, keeps shoving guys in the chest, getting offensive fouls. But no, my favorite year of basketball in my career. Won Finals MVP 2 years ago, by the way, but this was his favorite year of his career.
I'm telling you.
I'm done with this guy. Get him out of my face. Trade him, please.
Really? You're done with Jaylen Brown?
I'm done. I don't really care for him all that much, but his play I can tolerate, and he was having a great regular season, but he's a regular season player. This guy gets into the postseason, it's the same thing over and over again. Million turnovers, can't go left, bad handle, bad offensive fouls, and not a true number one. You're not. Thinks he is, but he's not.
Great. So we get Jason Tatum, now James Harden playing the Houston Rockets spread offense with Mike D'Antoni playing the role of Joe Mazzulla. Great. That'll be fun, too.
So, look, I'm not telling you I want to trade either one of them. I'm just telling you I'll listen. Tell me what's out there. And if the deal makes sense, I'll do it.
They're going to move on from Jaylen Brown. I feel as strongly about that as any, and it's a mistake.
So, and Mike, just to be consistent, I wouldn't leave Tatum off the table either. And I say that I wouldn't. And I'm not telling you I would do it. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if there's a deal to be made and it makes sense to do it, then I would think about doing it. I'm not calling those guys untouchables anymore. No way.
This was another Jaylen Brown quote. I don't know if it was from the podium or it was from his stream, but as Murray referenced, quote, "This is probably one of my most fun years playing basketball."
I have it. I can play it.
Go ahead.
This is probably one of my most fun years playing basketball. It didn't always it wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always analytically, aesthetically pleasing, but we won a lot of basketball games and people could see the grit and the fight that we play with every single night. And tonight was an example of that. We left it all out there. We played 5 small guys. We played a rookie. We played whatever, and we scrapped all the way to the end. Just came up a few plays short.
I wonder about this guy. He sounds like a guy that would rather be on a lesser team but be the man, Damian Lillard, than be a second piece on a championship team.
Yeah.
He sounded really happy last night.
He did.
Dude, you just got smoked. You choked. You missed, like 3 of your last 4 shots, maybe more. You had 2 clean looks to give him a lead inside of 3 minutes, and you clanged them both. You saw Brown wasn't all that good last time. He scored some points, but he wasn't all that efficient. He keeps turning the ball over. And he comes out of another crushing loss. This was probably one of my most fun years playing basketball. God. And we won a lot of games. People could see the grit and the fight. And tonight was an example of that. You lost. What are you talking about? But the line where he says it wasn't always analytically or aesthetically pleasing, he's made a couple different references, Mazz, to the analytics on the team.
He has. Over the course of the year, he definitely has.
So I think there's a little bit of a divide there. And Stu is sort of pointing to it, too. How they play when Tatum's on the floor versus how they played this year when it was Brown's show. And Brown thinks that they play quicker when Brown is leading the way. They share the ball more when Brown is leading the way. And it's probably true. But does Brown really like that because that's the best way to play? Or is it's more about him?
Both things can be true.
Sort of sounds like that second thing to me. But what kind of comments are those after you just got smoked again? Never mind the blaming the refs nonsense.
One of the most storied franchises in the NBA. They'd never blown a 3-1 lead. They've been around, 80 years? And he's parading around on a dumb stream saying, this year was the balls. Oh, great time.
Seriously.
It's embarrassing.
No, they've already got their ring. Again, they don't have anything left to prove, don't you know?
I'm with you, Murray. It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
Here's an update from Big Jim. We're right back. We're back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Mazz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Mazz, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Joe, you rolled out a different starting lineup in this one, ended up circling back to the guys in the fourth quarter that you went with for most of the series. What went into that decision for the start of the game, and then throughout the game, what did you see that made you do the rotation changes you did?
I thought there was a couple of things we saw tactically we wanted to test out. Obviously give the series a little bit of a different feel, and take advantage, of the roster that we've had, and and take advantage of the guys that can impact plays and whatnot. So thought it was great by the guys, and we came up short.
We asked before, what the hell was that? And, listen, let's do this. Let's go to the hot take hotline. I don't know if we have a hot take hotline, but I've deemed it the hot take hotline. Our buddy Cerrone Battle sent me an email about what he thinks was up with that.
Just don't give up the number to the public.
He actually joins us now on the hot take hotline. Cerrone Battle, what the hell was that starting lineup about, in your opinion?
Home from work, and it was like the end of a M. Night Shyamalan movie when all the clues came together, and you noticed the big reveal. Everything we said that he should be doing with this team, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every single thing He did every one of those things in the first half of that game to stick it to the media, and you can't convince me any other way. We said
For example.
he should go small. He should go small. Something he hadn't done all series. We all said he should go small. Every other network said he should go small at times. He goes small. We said we need more from the bench. He starts the bench. We need more Hugo Gonzalez. He throws Gonzalez out there. The offense runs better through Jason Tatum. He benched Jason Tatum. He did every single thing the media said he should do 2 days before that game, and he did it in that game to stick it to the media. And he's had a beef with the media for a long time, going back to what he did with the scrimmage game with those guys, changing the rules to try and run it up on them, make them look bad, some of the things he said. And this is not the first time a player, coach, whatever, has done this in the playoffs. Remember, Kobe Bryant was accused of shooting too much and costing the Lakers games, and he came out in a playoff game and refused to shoot the basketball. Some guys are wired that way. I don't know why, but you cannot convince me that he didn't throw those guys out there because the media was telling him he needed to make moves and make adjustments. He did it to send a message, and it ended up burning his team. You can't convince me any other way.
There was another one, too. I apologize if I didn't hear you rattle it off, but we were saying, like, okay, enough with Vucevic. He's a defensive liability. And
there it is.
He benched him the whole game.
Every single thing they said, we said on Thursday, we said on Friday, and we said Saturday, not just on our station, but across all platforms. Every single thing they said on ESPN, he did it, and did it in the first half of that game. And then in the second half, fourth quarter, you didn't see no Gonzalez. You didn't see that bench anymore because he already made his point. And by then, he figured they were going to win that game and end up shooting themselves out of it. But he did all that to send a message, and you would never convince me any other way.
Cerrone, is there something you would do going forward? What do you think the biggest problem is, and how would you correct it if you were the Celtics?
After the way I've seen and heard last couple of days, it starts with the head coach. That's got to be the move. I think starting your G League roster in the Game 7 against the Sixers is one of the worst coaching decisions we've seen in a long time. It has to go there. But you have to improve this roster. You got to get a point guard in there to take the ball out of Tatum and Brown's hands, and you got to find a way to solve that center position one way or the other. I have where they figure it out. But changes have to be made with this team.
Do you think that they are apt to do that?
I think so. I think Brad Stevens would do it. I think now, will he make the big move with Tatum and Brown? I don't know, but I don't think right about now, I don't think anybody's safe on that team. I don't see anybody being safe. Maybe Tatum, not so much because of his game, because of his off-court value. He's a star in this league. He's one of the top 5 selling jerseys in basketball. You got a new owner out there who didn't hire none of these people, but I'm pretty sure he sees dollar signs when he sees Jason Tatum. So I think he might be the only one safe, either on that sidelines or on this roster.
Cerrone, thanks for checking in. We appreciate it.
See you, Cerrone.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
Okay, take it easy.
So I'll tell you what,
Mazzulla did it just to spite the public. Does that sound like him?
He's that kind of a-hole.
100% it sounds like him. So normally I would say, what crackpot sent in this email that the coach is going to sabotage the whole thing? But you know what? Mazzulla is that kind of guy. He's absolutely the kind of guy that says, oh, really? And he brought up a good point with Kobe. You know, Kobe being on strike to start a game where he didn't shoot the ball. And by the way, I would tell you that LeBron did a similar thing. Do you remember that? Where there was a playoff game, was it a Game 7 here, that he came in to play the Celtics and didn't shoot the ball or shot the ball 3 times in the first half because all he was doing was setting up other people as if to make the point that his supporting cast wasn't good enough to beat the Celtics. That was a game where he took his jersey off and walked out of the arena. Remember that?
Sure.
So look, it's not unprecedented in the NBA for someone to do something outrageous to make a point. So I said at the beginning of the show, I'll allow for anything.
Okay, it's a long commercial-free segment coming your way next. It's a Reentry Monday. Everything's on the board. Back to your phones right after this.
Felger and Mazz continue on the Sports Hub.
Sadon 0 for 3, but he's had a nose for the dramatic hit in his career. Ground ball. Correa to second, one out of first, and a double play. And that ends the ball game. Red Sox just could not come up with a big hit. All day yesterday, all day today. Houston wins it. They take the series 3-1 the final.
Oh, yeah, 0 for 11. Runners in scoring position in a game that went extra innings. An opportunity to win it there at the end. not out of lack of effort. Sometimes it starts getting in your head and you start pressing a little bit, but the reality is you're 0 for 11. Scoring position. And out of this one, obviously the big concern is Ranger Suarez. Left the game with a tight hamstring. What do you have left in this rotation moving forward? And you're on your way to Detroit, dropping a series to two teams that are really trying to find themselves here this month.
Yep. Well, it felt like a very dark day here. Started with Suarez, ended with an extra inning defeat.
Dark weekend, Boston sports. The bloodbath continued at Fenway Park. They lose 2-3 to Houston, remain in last place, and now they're infighting. Mazz, tell us about it.
Did I miss something while I was gone with the Red Sox? Did anything happen in the last week while I was away?
Well, that's right. You weren't even here when he got fired.
No, I wasn't. I was on my way to the airport that night when they decided to wipe out half of the coaching staff, for crying out loud, including the manager, and did it all right then and there. So. Look, the thing that should concern you now about the Red Sox is that they're, a week into this new manager, and the team doesn't look any different. New manager, new offensive coaches. They went 3 for 28 with men in scoring position in the series over the weekend. They went 0 for 11 yesterday. It looks like the same suckbag team that it looked like when Alex Cora was here and the offensive coaching staff was intact. So to me, there's plenty to be concerned about still. And now it has spilled into the clubhouse. And this is the thing to watch, is watch out for the finger pointing inside the clubhouse. So Wilson Contreras after the game yesterday, and Sean McAdam wrote this on Mass Live. Wilson Contreras after the game yesterday made what I would call a seemingly innocuous comment, at least to me, where he was asked about the team's difficulty with men in scoring position. And again, McAdam wrote it in paraphrase. Contreras said it probably doesn't help that the lineup has a number of young players who don't have much experience in dealing with slumps. And minutes later, Marcelo Meyer seemed to take exception to that explanation. Quote, to me, that's just kind of an excuse. Blame the young guys, said Meyer. But at the end of the day, we're all playing baseball. We're all pros. We all know what we need to do. I don't think we're doing a good job with runners in scoring position. When you don't do that, you don't score runs. So, but there's a little bit of a shot there at Contreras of like, well, let's just blame the young guys. To which I would say, you've been here 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Marcelo Meyer, shut your pie hole.
Yeah, I generally agree with Contreras here. Meyer doesn't have nearly...
Well, how long has Contreras been here?
Okay, but Contreras...
But he's an established veteran.
But at least he's been in the big leagues for a while. So, like, Meyer's just trying to figure out how to play in the major leagues. So what? You start swinging the bat better for a week, and now you can tell a veteran to shut your face? So I see that and I go, okay, well, there's a little bit of friction right there. And then also, and again, this was a Mass Live story. There was a hit by Altuve in the middle of that game yesterday where the ball went to center field and Rafaela got the ball in quickly and threw to Story at second base as Altuve was sliding into the bag. Story turned around unaware that he still had a chance to get the runner by lunging to make a tag. So the tag was late. Now, I don't know if they would have gotten him anyway, but Story's back was to the play. When that happened, Rafaela threw his arms up in the air like, what the hell was that? I got the ball back in there. How do we not get that guy at second base? Story said after the game that he hadn't talked to Rafaela about it, but quote unquote, we'll talk about it. So now you got young guys and old guys on the team disagreeing. So get ready for this. Because if they keep losing, there's going to be this thing that exists where the old guys, who basically are Cora's guys, versus the young guys who are Chad Tracy's guys. Remember that these guys played for Tracy in the minor leagues. They played for members of the coaching staff. Because one of the coaches they brought up is the third base coach, and I was the manager at Portland. It's Epperson, I think it is. So these guys the young guys played for these guys in the minor leagues. The veteran guys did not. Watch out for this. Okay, nice. The Red Sox are going to eat themselves from the inside, and this is what the whole year is turning into. They're a complete freaking poop show. They're a dumpster fire, and it's going to get worse. Mark my words.
And it turns out, Mazz, it's the only thing we got.
Yep.
So we made this commitment while you were out of the country last week because, I feel this Red Sox season is going to be unlike some of the recent ones where in recent years, Mazz, they were a last place team. But remember, you'd get to like the trade deadline and they'd be like 3.5 out of the final wild card. And they'd just be within shouting distance of contention. And you'd be able to, if you add a little something, you go on a little bit of a run, you could get one of those wild card spots. And that was kind of the nature of their last several last place seasons. I think this one's going to be totally different. I think this is like last place. This is like the COVID year. This is like one of these things, okay? So we have to commit every day, Mazz. We are going to rip the ever-loving hell out of something on the Red Sox every day.
I'm in.
It doesn't need to be a full segment, but it's got to be at least a couple minutes every day to pick something on the field, off the field, that we just beat the bag out of. And then when we go through everything, we'll go back to the top and start all over again. Every single day. Are you with us?
Oh, I'm 100% in. Listen, I think that this team is headed towards what's the right word? Like a cataclysm? Is that the right word? Where you're talking about the type of event that shakes a franchise. They may have to start all over, Mike.
Yeah.
They literally may have to start all over, which means, getting rid of Breslow eventually, whenever that might be, and their young players now not being good enough and having to start this thing all over again. This is a freaking mess. It's a borderline disaster. The only race they're going to have this year is for the number 1 pick. They have a chance at the number 1 pick if they suck enough, and I think they have it in them.
There's a Red Sox minute for you. Add it to the list. Another stick on the fire. We get right back to your phones on a Reentry Monday after Murray's 90-second update. There are no commercials here.